As the king lay dying in Buckingham Palace, his wife kept her composure. Still, upright, unshakable. But outside, at the gate, another woman was said to be standing there, much younger, breathless, with a letter in her hand. Alice Keppel, the mistress. She was said to have waved it, to have pressed, almost demanded, "Let me in." And if later accounts are to be believed, she was actually allowed inside. Only what supposedly happened inside was so improper that you can't help wondering whether the guards regretted it afterward. Because in that moment, two worlds collided: Victorian dignity and private truth. Victorian England still loves its own legend: strict, buttoned up, moral, an age that pretended no one desired, no one drank, no one fell. But behind closed doors, it was often a different society, one where power could do almost anything, and scandal only became dangerous when it touched the wrong people. And no one embodied that contradiction better than Queen Victoria's son, Edward VII. The man many called Dirty Bertie, and whom the country still mourned like a favorite. The question isn't how scandalous his stories were. The question is, why did he get away with it, and who paid the price? Albert Edward was born on November 9, 1841, in Buckingham Palace. To the family, he quickly became Bertie. He was heir to the throne from his first breath. It sounds like luck. In reality, it was an assignment. His parents, Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, were obsessed with discipline. They wanted a son who fit their ideal: serious, scholarly, controlled. Bertie didn't. His teachers wrote, not stupid, but unfocused, not brilliant, but dangerously charming. And to Victoria, charm wasn't a strength. It was a warning. Charm makes rules go soft. Bertie learned early that he wasn't loved for who he was, only when he performed. And people who are made to feel like disappointments eventually look for places where they won't be examined, only desired. At 19, Bertie went on an official tour of North America, and something happened that reoriented his life. He was adored. Crowds cheered him as if he were already king. For a young man used to scolding at home, it felt like a kind of intoxication. He returned more confident, bolder, hungrier. And then came what would become his signature: women. Soon after, what should have been duty turned into a fuse. Bertie was sent to Ireland for military experience, and there began an affair with the actress Nellie Clifton. The details live in competing versions, but the direction is clear. It didn't stay discreet. Victorian society loved morality, and loved gossip even more. The scandal reached the palace. Prince Albert, already in fragile health, confronted his son. People later spoke of a long talk, harsh words, a last attempt to break the young man before he broke himself. And then Albert died. For Queen Victoria, her husband's death was a fall she never truly climbed out of. She wore mourning like a second skin, and inside that grief, something stronger than reason took hold: blame. To her, Bertie wasn't just an embarrassing son. He became a son who seemed responsible, even if life is never that simple. It poisoned everything. You might think that shock would finally make Bertie careful, but the opposite happened. In 1863, he married Princess Alexandra of Denmark. On paper, order returned: marriage, family, future. And many accounts say Alexandra and Bertie got on well, under one quiet condition. She endured what she could not change: Because Bertie remained a man with a second life beside his marriage. How many affairs there were can't be counted cleanly. What's certain is simply this: there were many, and they followed him for decades. Then came the moment when scandal stopped whispering in salons and started breathing in a courtroom: the Mordaunt divorce case. The Prince of Wales was dragged into it, called to speak, forced to explain himself. Even without a definitive proof, the scene alone did damage. The heir to the throne now stood too close to what people only said about fallen women. And as so often, the cost didn't land first on the man at the top. It landed on the woman. Lady Harriet Mordaunt vanished from public life, shut away, removed from sight. As if the problem could be solved not by understanding it, but by hiding it. Bertie, meanwhile, carried on. In 1871, life nearly caught up with him. He fell gravely ill with typhoid. The country held its breath because many believed it was the same disease that had taken Albert. Newspapers waited for every bulletin as if the future depended on it. Bertie survived, and strangely enough, people loved him more afterward, not because he suddenly became virtuous, but because he suddenly looked mortal, human. But the problem didn't disappear. It only changed shape. Through the 1880s and 1890s, his reputation became a blend of fascination and disgust. He traveled constantly, spent long stretches in France, partly to escape the cold glare of his mother back in London. And while London preached morality in public, parts of the elite lived as if rules were meant for other people. In 1890, the next major blow landed: Tranby Croft, Baccarat. A card game that was illegal at the time. A friend accused of cheating, tempers flaring, a court case, and once again, the heir was pulled into the light. The outcome was brutal. The friend was socially destroyed, and Bertie's reputation dropped as if the floor had vanished under him. Then came a blow that had nothing to do with gossip. In 1892, his eldest son, Albert Victor, died young. Bertie's letters showed real devastation. For a moment, you could see the man behind the nickname, someone capable of love, and still never able to limit himself. A few years later, Alice Keppel entered his life. Much younger, socially astute, discreet, and she became the most famous mistress of his later years. She benefited from it. And yes, that too is part of the truth of the system. Closeness to the crown isn't only emotion, it's access. In 1901, Queen Victoria died. Bertie was 59, and suddenly the eternal heir became king, Edward VII. Here lies the twist. Many expected chaos. Many expected embarrassment. Many believed Victoria had been right. But as king, Edward proved more serious than his reputation suggested. He understood the public. He understood people. He understood effect. Perhaps that was his real gift, not scholarship, but the ability to rule atmospheres. Only his body no longer had much time. In 1909 and 1910, collapses and weakness multiplied. And on May 6, 1910, Edward VII died. After his death, the crowds came in waves to say goodbye. The scandal prince was gone, and the country mourned him like someone it had wanted to keep, despite everything. And now we return to the beginning. The gate, the corridor, the deathbed. The story of Alice Keppel has survived in variants, some more dramatic, some more restrained, but its core fits the age like a key in a lock. The wife holds the form. The mistress breaks it. And maybe that is the real point. In the end, morality doesn't win. Rank does. Protocol. Control. because Victorian England loved virtue as an idea and lived contradiction as a practice.